Hello and shalom, friends. This is Mayim Vega. Welcome to the Arukah Holistic Podcast. And here we dive into the heart of holistic health, exploring natural healing, wellness, and transformation. As part of Arukah.com, our mission is to empower people to become holistic healers through our Holistic Healer Certification Program, where we teach naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing. And today's guest aligns beautifully with our mission to address the root causes of health challenges and enable genuine healing. I'm thrilled to introduce Heather Sunderland, a board-certified functional health coach whose incredible story of healing from 28 years of undiagnosed Lyme disease and mold toxicity has led her to help others find their path to wellness. Heather's mission is to provide hope and support to those suffering from complex chronic conditions by addressing root issues and promoting a regenerative approach to healing. Through her personalized coaching and upcoming online course on navigating mold and chronic inflammatory response syndrome, or CIRS, Heather is committed to guiding others towards renewed health. Shalom, Heather. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, Mayim. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, awesome. So I understand that we are both Jewish, and it's very interesting. I wanted to start with a story of, I have a friend who's also very, she doesn't use the title health coach, but she is a health coach. That's what she does. Maybe she uses the title consultant or something like that. Well, someone came to her and she knew that she had, my friend knew that she was dealing with mold issues and that her house had mold. And she said, I don't know what to do about it. And she said, well, you know what? The Bible says, now I understand that, in Judaism, we say that it's not leprosy and it's not a normal mold. I understand that that's the religious answer, but coming from maybe a rational answer, or maybe looking at the Bible from a scientific lens or something like that, she said, you know what? The Bible says that if your house is moldy and you can't get rid of it, you should burn it down.
Yeah, it does. Get out. It says get out.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they burned it down, but she definitely moved out of her house and she improved her health. So I know you have a very similar story, and I'm excited to hear it. So what is your personal journey of recovering from chronic Lyme disease and mold toxicity?
Try to make the story short. Always had chronic health problems as a kid. Was a dietitian, diabetic educator. And in my 30s, I started to develop daily pain labeled with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. By the time I was 35, the pain was so bad that I stopped working and I had a private practice. And literally over the next 20 plus years, I just got sicker and sicker, severe neuropathy, trouble walking, standing, ligament laxity, irritable bladder, all these labels of illnesses. It wasn't until I was about 51 that one of my doctors decided to do testing that showed that I had Lyme bacteria in my body. I didn't meet the CDC requirement for Lyme. And I went to a facility that we treated holistically using muscle testing to determine what my body wanted. And I started having herxing and die off instantly.
What
And I
exactly
got
did they
along.
do? What exactly did you do there?
I ended up doing herbs, and I was on andrographis. And I mean, I was so sick, herxing. Nobody opened up my detox pathways, before we started killing. But within a few months of treatment, my acute chronic pain of an 8 every day went to like a 2 or a 3. So that was amazing, but I was still not right. And nobody really knew why. And I moved across the country to Arizona because I had trouble walking and standing to be in a 1-story house that was more affordable. And I entered health coaching school. And at the time, my ligament laxity was so severe, I went to school in a zero gravity chair, because if I sat at my desk where I am now, my vertebrae would go out of alignment, and it would be 3 to 4 visits to a chiropractor. And I was hoping to get answers for myself, but I didn't. But that is where I met a friend who became a friend, Bobbi McGrath, who reached out to me and said, I think you have CIRS. I didn't know what that was, or what, mold toxicity or CIRS. And I went and had testing done, and I had CIRS. And I worked with a wonderful naturopathic physician, who did the shoemaker approach, and nothing shifted. And at that time, I was down to like 10 foods that I could eat. I had SIBO. And then I met other coaches who had CIRS and mold toxicity, who use this regenerative approach, using food very deeply to nourish, to alkalize, to restore the gut. And I started to see shifts. And the third day, my diet went from 10 foods to 11, and it just gradually increased. And by 3 months, my brain fog had lifted. By 6 months, I wasn't using assisted walking devices to get around. It's been when people look at me now, it's crazy how far I've come. But it was a very gradual process. We all want the quick fix. There is no quick fix. And at 23 months, my doctor said, you don't have Lyme, you don't have mold, you don't have CIRS. I had Graves' disease. I didn't have Graves' disease. I didn't have mono. I had just all these labels. They were all reversed, but I still had a lot of things to let go of in my body. Even though I was no longer sick, I still had a high pathogen load and toxin load. And my body has spent the last 2 years releasing a lot of stuff, because I'm 59. So, I mean, I was sick a long time with the undiagnosed Lyme. So I did really have a very high pathogen load. So it's been a crazy journey, and very intense, but very rewarding to be able to walk and hike. I mean, those were things. I could not go to the supermarket and shop without a scooter or a walker, and I could not stand in line. I would get anxious because my vertebrae would go out of alignment if I was standing for more than 2 minutes without moving. It was just really nutty, all the symptoms that I had. That's the
Wow.
shortened version, 28 years shortened version of the story.
Yeah. So what exactly did help you restore your health? What do you think are the top? I mean, I'm sure there was many things. What would you say are the things that stood out the most?
I'm going to say the top three. Number one, I didn't realize at the time I was doing this, but I was working, with a counselor, going through scripture, learning God's word and focusing on the truth of God's word. So I was rewiring my brain or doing nervous system work. And I really never thought about it until later. But that was really the start of my
In terms of
healing.
healing, like going through verses about
I was going,
healing.
Well, not just healing, just understanding who God was and could I trust him.
Okay.
So it made me think about being sick very differently. And part of healing from mold or CIRS, the nervous system is dysregulated, and we get very focused on our symptoms and that something's wrong. But when I started to focus on nothing was wrong, that I knew what was wrong and I was healing, and that the symptoms were a part of healing, and trusting God in the process, it over time, I wasn't anxious anymore. I was rewiring my brain and the way I thought of every symptom. Now if I have a symptom, it's like, oh, good, stuff's leaving. It's leaving on its own. So that was number one. Number two was a regenerative nutrition protocol. Like, I was doing superfood shakes that were organic, regeneratively farmed. So there was a much higher nutrient content. And my gut was such a mess with SIBO that it was super easy to digest, absorb and assimilate. And I could only tolerate the tiniest amount of shake, but it allowed me to start detoxing and start to heal my gut. It was like an entire protocol. That was my biggest piece. And the more I alkalized over time, my body started to let go of things on its own. It didn't happen right away. My body is still letting go of pathogens. They're dying without me taking something to kill them. That took some time. Everybody's a little bit different. But for me, the nutrition piece was huge, and I see it missed an awful lot out there in, any chronic illness, but especially in the mold and Lyme world. Um, And then the other part would be supporting my detox pathways, with herbs or homeopathics. I used whatever I muscle tested for in the dose. And then later on in the journey, binders became very important, but I used whole food binders and what I muscle tested for to mop up, what was leaving to decrease my symptoms. Um, for me, those were my four biggies that were huge. There were other tools I definitely used on the journey and things I use with clients now that I wish I had known about, on the beginning of my journey, but I just didn't. I just had the food and the herb piece and the binder piece at the time. And there's a lot of things I do with clients now that I didn't have access to or know about.
Okay, great. So I have a bunch of questions now in my head. Oh, first a comment. Well, kind of a question, but you said that when you were tested for Lyme, your levels were very low, not high enough to be.
Well, the CDC, I think I did the Western and ELISA blot, and I think they require 10 bands, and I had two, and I had Lyme bacteria, on one of the bands. And so my holistic practitioners were like, they muscle tested me and said, you have active Lyme. And so we treated, and I definitely herxed, and I've had other testing done showing, yeah, I had Lyme, I had Bartonella, I had Ehrlichia, I had a lot of co-infections, but the Western and ELISA blot aren't the greatest ones if somebody wants to see it um, in black and white. I trusted my practitioners when they said, yeah, you have Lyme.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to point out is that I'm theorizing that the levels were low for you because you were already a nutritionist and you were already trying to live as healthy of a life as you could, which was why.
I would say back then, when I think of myself as a dietitian, I thought I was eating healthy, but I was eating a non-processed version of the standard American diet. And what I had to do to heal was very different. For me, everybody's different, but I went 95% fruits and veggies with organic superfood shakes and vegan amino acids. Today, I'm not sick and I've added food back into my diet, but to heal, I did 3 months of all fruit. Now, I don't recommend that for people to just jump in and do all fruit, but my body was ready. It was craving it. Like I needed it. I was almost like an addict with watermelon. I live in Arizona and we could get it. And for 3 months, I had a watermelon every day, like a whole watermelon over the course of the day. But it was super helpful in detoxing and super helpful in moving the lymph and starving pathogens. But as a dietitian, it was so contrary to everything I was taught.
Mhm. I mean, what people learn when they go to school to be a dietitian is very standard information, right? Which causes what we have as this know as the standard American diet, maybe the healthiest version of that, which is still better than the
Yeah, yeah,
worst
yeah,
version
yeah.
of that. And I just want to point out, in my experience, people that I know that have Lyme disease, it's really bad. I don't know anyone that says, oh, I just had a small case of Lyme disease.
Or
Usually if you
no.
know that you have Lyme disease, it's very bad. And I'm theorizing that because you had at least some knowledge that it wasn't diagnosed yet, or earlier.
I was not an expert in Lyme disease when I got diagnosed. In fact, I really didn't want to like delve into it because all I knew was the negative about it. I just wanted to focus on getting better. Um, I don't I don't know if I had a small case of Lyme disease. I'm just saying the CDC, there were just two bands, and I don't think they CDC doesn't classify Lyme, but I never went on to do IGeneX or some of the other testing out there. I spent over 300,000 on my healing journey chasing the wrong things. And then everybody who treated me for Lyme missed the mold piece. And you cannot get better from Lyme if you're toxic. And it doesn't have to be from mold. It can be any toxin, but a lot of people with chronic Lyme have been exposed to mold or are living in mold and they just don't know it. In my childhood home, my parents, when I told them I had CIRS, they said, oh, your bedroom had stacky ever since you were 3 years old, black mold. And I thought, oh my gosh, I was asthmatic as a kid. I had irritable bowel. I had sinus infections 12 times a year and bronchitis every year. At 50, whatever age I was when I started detoxing 4 years ago, within 3 months, my asthma was totally gone. I had been asthmatic from 3 years old, and I'm 59 now, and I have no asthma. And I was on like 6 drugs for the asthma. And so often mold is at the root of people who have asthma and allergies. It's just not, people aren't trained on it in the traditional world and even in the holistic world, right? If people haven't experienced it, sometimes, right, they just didn't get the training in it. My health coaching school didn't teach about mold toxicity or chronic inflammatory response syndrome, or even talk about toxicity and how it impacts the body. So my journey was my education.
Yeah, that's the
Sadly, not
most,
not my schooling.
yes.
Yeah, not my schooling. Um,
hmm Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's true for almost all professions. My first background with education was as a computer science major, and it was the same for then. As a computer, all my computer science classes, they taught me very foundational things, but they didn't teach me a lot of real world things that I would use. And I had to, when I used to work at the NASA Ames Research Center, and I devoted at least half an hour every day to making sure that I was learning the newest and latest technology and techniques and et cetera. And that's the only way to stay ahead in the programming world, because technology evolves so rapidly. But I think the same is true in the holistic health and healing world. And it's true with medical doctors. I believe that medical doctors don't learn how to deal with root causes and root issues. They don't learn true holistic health and healing. They learn, pathology and anatomy and physiology and diagnosis, and how to treat diseases through drugs and surgery. None of those address root issues. And
right.
it's so interesting that, as a naturopathic herbalist and holistic healer myself also, and not being a licensed medical doctor, I always have to give the disclaimer that,
Yeah.
you have to consult with your, please consult with your physician. When I know, because I have students in my certification program who are in the medical field. They could be a doctor, nurse practitioner,
Mhm.
psychiatrist, nurse, medical technician, etc. And they don't they'll tell me that they didn't learn anything about nutrition. Nothing
No,
important,
not
nothing really
no.
important or healing about nutrition in
No,
medical
but people are
school.
getting their advice from their doctors on how to eat when they have a chronic condition. Um, and a lot of times that advice is not appropriate for that, individual.
And even worse, they'll say, oh, that's dangerous, it's dangerous to do these things, or it's a waste of money to do these things, when it could
I don't know.
be the only
Yeah.
thing that helps them.
Yeah, I find that people are in two camps. They're even open to holistic, right? Or their foot is in the camp of traditional, conventional medicine. And it's a learning curve because I was in that camp where I was a dietitian, I was in the hospital system, and then I was an outpatient educator in the world of diabetes. But it was a process for my mind and eyes to be opened, to that maybe the government wasn't worried about what was best for me and my food, and just so many changes in my thinking about how I think about what I put on my body, what I put in my body. And I've had wonderful, caring doctors, but I think we have to advocate for ourselves and we have to do our own research and not just anybody, even if somebody works with me. I don't want them to blindly, right, trust me. I want them, to feel comfortable with the approach they're taking. And I just think we have to be wise because I spent a lot of money going to really wonderful doctors, and as a coach, I was challenging them, saying, "This doesn't make sense to me to treat SIBO with medications if we're not addressing the fact that I'm toxic, then the gut's still going to be damaged." And their approach did not work. I needed to be addressing the toxicity in the body while addressing healing the gut at the same time. but I spent a lot of money seeing some really top-notch doctors. And sometimes if you don't go through the journey, it doesn't all come together in your head. You know, we're following a protocol that someone taught us about, but if that protocol doesn't work for a lot of your clients, yeah, it's just totally changed how I look at things, as a coach and as a person. But we do need a team when we're getting well of practitioners. My doctor's still on my team. She's a naturopath. She's brilliant, but she didn't get me well, but she's been there when I've had some questions or I needed some blood work to check where I was at in the process, and just for feedback. But I didn't use her approach to get better because it didn't work for me. It wasn't covering all the bases that I needed it to cover for my body and how long I had been sick.
Yeah, there's a holistic medical doctor that I follow. His name is Dr. Vernon Coleman. I think he's anti-Semitic, but that's okay because I still like his health information. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's not anti-Semitic, but he's not on Israel's side when it comes to the conflict. But anyway, that's a different podcast topic. But he has a saying that I love, which is that there are no true holistic doctors. There are only holistic patients, because no one practitioner can live your life and knows everything about you and can make the changes that you need to make in order to heal yourself. The true healer, the true doctor is you and the spirit within you, the inner healer that God has given to each and every single one of us, if we will listen, to that voice and let it guide us to the right paths.
Yes, I totally agree. And sometimes we're not listening, we're not listening to those whispers that our body is trying to tell us. And we do need to take that time to listen, and not push through symptoms and whatever, we're being convicted of in our spirit.
Yes, yes. I always like to say how symptoms are just our body's way of speaking to us and telling us where it's at and what it may need and how to support it. And it's funny because I have one of my students. He said that when he was growing up, he would get pneumonia every single year. Every single year, he would get pneumonia, and as soon as he moved out of his mother's house, he stopped getting it every single year. And he used to think, that it was the diet, which it probably contributed
Sure.
to it for sure. But it was probably also partly, it could have been from mold toxicity. People don't realize how much of an effect that has, how much it aggravates so many different diseases, not just Lyme.
Oh my gosh. No, yeah. Actually, my whole family, we were all exposed. And my son, asthmatic, life-threatening food allergies, underweight, and has ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. He has both, but more active ulcerative colitis. My husband was metabolic syndrome, food allergies, skin rashes, every skin condition out there, eczema, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, lots of food sensitivities, could not lose weight no matter what he did. And then I was more classic of being exposed to water damage with severe neuropathy and the brain fog, and then the activated Lyme and EBV. But people are so different. And then you go to a practitioner who doesn't know mold and you're being treated for those different labels. Like I know my son's label can be reversed, if he was open to that. He's not. But it's hard, it's hard for practitioners to recognize that, because people can present so differently in the same house. And I was very sick and disabled where the rest of my family was functional but unwell. And it can play into people's genetics. If you're predisposed to struggle to detox mycotoxins and to detox Lyme biotoxins, just poor genetics for detox can make one person sicker than another person in a house. And you don't see mold 70% of the time. And I'm in Arizona, and I bought a new build, and we had Stacky in the new build from probably building material when either they framed the house or the building material was already wet. Everybody's really different how much they can handle being exposed to. We're all going to be exposed to mold and mycotoxins. And people have to listen to their own body and how they're feeling in a home. I was able to stay in my home. That's very unusual. And my levels in my home are nothing compared to the clients that I work with. But some people are very, very sensitive because they've been exposed at very, very high levels for a long time. And then their body reacts, every time they're re-exposed as a warning to say, get out. Um,
Yeah.
so it's, yeah, very interesting. And
Yes, absolutely. So, I want to talk about your program, but before we do, can you just tell me a few ingredients in the shake that you took? You said that you took a superfood shake. We have
yes,
a superfoods formula too. I'm just trying to compare notes
oh,
of
wonderful.
what's in
Yes,
yours.
everything that I took was regeneratively farmed in farms that met certain permaculture practices, but it was chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass juice. I mean, things that I would never on a label typically eat. And there are like different options for different people with grains, without grains. But the shake I took had some sprouted grains in it and a lot of greens, but like I said, not things you typically eat. But all of that supported right detox pathways and cellular nourishment and alkalizing and nourishing the body. And at the time, I was too sick to understand why it was working. But at about 3 months out, when my brain was functioning better, all of a sudden, as a coach, it was like, oh my gosh, this was addressing everything so much. And then I had gut support I took at once. It brought down inflammation so quickly because it was so alkaline, and it was detoxing me. Um, Within days, I had detox symptoms, and I took the tiniest dose. I took 1 tablespoon twice a day, and the full dose was like 6 tablespoons. It took me a year to get to the full dose, but I mean, I was seeing huge shifts early on. And I think using food, whether it's a shake or just diet alone, is a huge missing piece in all chronic illness and in mold toxicity and Lyme disease for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So I wanted to, I know that you have a program and with your partner, with your colleague, that you're coming out with soon. Is could you want to talk about it a little bit? I know that we're going to talk about it some more in the future, but just a sneak peek of what's coming.
Sure. My colleague Bobbi McGrath and I were just, our heart, right, is to help people not miss, help other practitioners not miss mold toxicity and CIRS so people don't have to continue to suffer. I get really frustrated when I've seeing a client that someone's worked with for 4 years and they miss that they were in water damage. So that's our heart, to educate practitioners first, and then of course to support clients. So we're doing 3 free webinars, but our first one is November 11th. And I can give you the link to put in there. I don't think we had it, but it's basically to cover how to assess if a client may have mold toxicity and CIRS, and first steps that a practitioner can do to evaluate if the home is unsafe or if they have an issue with potentially water damage. So we're just excited to offer that. And then January 6th, we have a 15 module course that we've developed on mold toxicity and CIRS, on what is mold, what are mycotoxins, what is CIRS, what is mold toxicity, what's the nuance and the difference, how do you test the body, how do you test the home, how do you properly remediate a home. We're going to go into the regenerative approach and opening detox pathways, using food as medicine. We're going to go into, there's a whole module on binders and different binders and what they're good for, when to use them, when not to use them. We're going to go into some other approaches on the market because I think practitioners, I want them to understand there are other ways to do this and let them choose what works best for their clients. And sometimes it's a combination. I did the shoemaker approach. It did not move the needle for me. So I see a lot of people who come from that approach and they're not well. So we're going to go over some different approaches out there for dealing with mold toxicity. And then there's a lot of case studies throughout um, the entire course. And it'll be a digital online course, but when we launch it January 6th, it will be live with us. And there will be Q&A, which won't be there when it's, uploaded in digital. It won't be a live course after that in all likelihood, but we're excited to do it live. And we will have a community that'll be free for whoever's taking the course, but first time round, probably mostly practitioners. So people can interact, ask questions with us and the community of other practitioners. So there's no course on the market that talks about the regenerative approach for mold toxicity and CIRS. And I feel like God laid it on our heart to do this, to get this information out there so that people know there's another option out there.
So this is a coaching program for practitioners first, and then later on it'll also be opened up to people who are suffering.
The course is appropriate for individuals who are suffering, but our languaging and our marketing of the course is hitting the pain points of the practitioners. So I have had some clients say they want to take the course, and they can take it with the practitioners. If that happens, we will start group coaching individuals, with Lyme mold and CIRS. And that's our plan, but we really just want to get the course out there first. But if we have people who are interested, we are going to do group coaching. And Bobbi and I have different backgrounds, and I think it's just going to be really fun and wonderful to bring our different backgrounds together to support clients on the healing journey and for them to feel part of a community, because it's such an isolating illness.
That's great. That's awesome. Yes, and this is really truly, if someone is a standard conventional medical doctor, nurse, or nutritionist, dietitian, or whatnot, they have to take a course like this, such as yours, in order to learn the holistic way, or not just one course, probably a lot of different courses and books, etc., to learn the holistic way. Unless they are a naturopath, then they'll probably learn more, or maybe a traditional Chinese medicine herbalist or acupuncturist, they learn more. But still, this is very much this is very much a specialty, with the mold. So even if you have studied holistic methods and went to a holistic health coaching school, for example, or herbalist school, even, just getting hyper focused on this specific subject, this topic, can be beneficial.
Well, the one thing I would say for anybody watching, if you're a practitioner or a client and you're not getting well with what you're doing, investigate your environment. Because I had an acupuncturist call me that a client of mine is going to, and she said, I don't understand. Nothing's moving the needle with what we're doing. And I said, well, she's living in mold and they haven't been willing to address it. Then just, it's a mental thing, it's a money thing. Sometimes the timing's not right. And when I explained to her what was going on, it made more sense why she wasn't getting better. So anytime somebody's not improving, looking at the environment is really important that they're living in, because we spend a lot of time in our homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then we don't do enough to detox, and we don't eat the right foods to support our bodies, and we don't get enough outdoor time with the sunshine and fresh air and all those things that our body needs. All of it contributes to it.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, totally.
So let's visit your website a bit and talk about it. Is that okay?
Sure. It's going to be different in a week. I just
that's right.
It's the same website. There's just going to be a few new pictures, but a lot of podcasts and educational resources that are not on the website and don't look the way I want them to look.
Oh, okay.
So it is being updated, but you're welcome to share it.
Okay. So so you've got a podcast. I didn't know that either.
No, I don't have a podcast. I have been on podcasts, but I don't have a podcast.
Okay, you're going to post the podcast episodes that you've been on. Okay, great. And then besides the course that's coming up, how do you work with people right now, and how can they get a hold of you if they would like to work with you?
Thanks. The best way to get a hold of me is healthcoachingbyheather.com, or you can email me at healthcoachingbyheather@gmail.com. And I'm always happy to do a complimentary discovery call to see if we're a good fit, to see that you feel comfortable. That's my son in the picture. If you're wondering why there's a man on my website, my husband said he thought it was a little odd, but I like the picture of us hiking together.
Mhm.
But right now it's one-on-one, and I am going to move to more group coaching. But in the group coaching options, people can also have some one-on-one attention as well. But in the new website, like I said, the course links will be in the new website. They're not there right now.
Okay, awesome.
And
So
there's a
this is
lot more testimonials in the new website.
okay. That's great. Can't wait. When is that going to be coming out, the new website?
I'm supposed to review it tomorrow, so it's just a matter of this website being taken down, and it's just going to be housed in a different platform. So um, it should be by next week, I would think. Um, but the content's not terribly different. It's just a little bit shortened, and the layout's similar, just a lot more. The resources page looks a lot nicer.
Okay. All right. Well, the most important thing is that they can get a hold of you by coming here to the healthcoachingbyheather.com website, and also contact you. They can schedule a call, it looks like, as well as email you through
Yes.
the contact form. And then you also said your email, healthcoachingbyheather@gmail.com. And I'm looking forward to the course that's coming out soon. That's going to be good for both practitioners as well as just people who are suffering from mold toxicity, or maybe have a hunch that that could be contributing to their problems.
Yeah,
So
I'm super excited. Thank you for letting me share that.
yes, absolutely. So and I love that you also shared that the first step to your healing was the spiritual and mindset piece of you know trusting in a higher power, and allowing God to lead you, and trusting that your body is doing what it needs to do, and things like that. I also had a miraculous healing for my first big health issue when I was in college, and ever since then, I definitely learned to trust in God, and to trust in our bodies that are fearfully and wonderfully made, as the Bible says, and trust that because God loves us, and if we pray and we're faithful to Him, that He will guide us and He will lead us, and give us the wisdom to overcome and to heal ourselves, because that is what He wants. And I also believe, as an observant Jew, that everything comes from the Creator, whether it is good or bad, good or evil, and that the good are blessings, and that the evil that comes our path is there to try us, to test us, and to ultimately draw us closer to the Creator and the great Physician. Um, and so everything is ultimately for our good in some way.
And I feel like my journey, it was a very difficult journey to heal from being sick that long, but I can see now how it's being used for good to help others who, I mean, because I seem to attract people who were like me, who were sick a very long time. Um, but and I can walk them through it, and I've walked them through it. But if I hadn't been through it, I don't know if I could have walked them through the process of healing, because I learned so much from the journey myself.
Absolutely. And that's another belief that I learned from Judaism, is that there's this tikkun olam, what is your mission to help restore and repair the world, and that it usually has to do with whatever challenges or hardships that you faced, and to just lead others to victory,
Mhm.
just as you have been blessed to receive, right? As
Yeah.
like as a mentor.
Yeah. I don't know a single naturopath who doesn't have a story, right? A reason for being helping people heal. And it's the same for every health coach I've met as well, right? We all have a story. And people need I mean, even just sharing the story, right? Me sharing my story is very healing and validating. And people who come to me, they need their story heard. They need to be heard, and they need somebody to receive it. It's just very healing to be able to tell your story as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
And hear other stories as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So the community part that you're going to create is going to be really powerful. I know. Have you ever heard there's another Jewish legend that says that there was a book of herbalism and healing that came from the angels, and that we used to have this. I don't know if it came from the angels. I don't know if that means that it was written by angels or if it was told to us by the angels, and then man wrote it down. And then we started relying on this book too much. And so God took it away so that we would rely on him more, because we would, mankind, they started trying to heal themselves with this herbal information, these natural remedies, and still forsake God and still forsake his ways. And so God's like, nope, I need to put an end to that. Let's focus on, your spiritual healing first, and then he will guide us to everything else that we need in life, really.
No, I don't think I ever heard the story, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but I think there's truth to it, at least, is that yeah, we should, there is one great physician that can heal us of everything and anything, and that if we trust in him, he will lead us and guide us. And then after that, just like you, we can help others in overcoming the same things.
Yes, no, I totally agree with that. Better to seek him first, because he knows your body. He knit it together in your mother's womb. Each person is unique in terms of what we need on our journey. And so if you can tune in to what you feel the Lord is calling you to do, or, leading you toward, it may be different than what I did. There may be similarities, of course, and overlaps, but, um, I truly believe in praying and having God guide you on the journey. And I will tell a lot of clients, pray about what I'm suggesting, and see where you feel the Lord leading you.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you. I think that was a beautiful closing thought. And we'll hear from you soon when your new course comes out. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayim. Thank you for letting me share and having me on your podcast. I appreciate it.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Algar and I am the host at Expertise TV, and I'm very excited to be introducing you to our guest today, Mayim Vega. Now, Mayim Vega is a former NASA computer scientist turned holistic healer after facing a very personal health crisis, which the modern medical system could not resolve. In 2009, she founded Arukah.com, which offers an holistic healer certification program focusing on 3 pillars: naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing to empower people to become holistic healers and achieve maximum impact in the world. Mayim combines her scientific background, natural healing methods, and faith in the creator and great physician to guide others on a path to personal and professional well-being. Mayim, it's clear that you are very passionate about the topic of holistic health, and particularly helping people who are wanting to transition into this approach. How did you find yourself in this line of work, and why is this work so important to you?
Thank you, Ashley, for taking the time to speak with me. And I'd love to answer that question. So the way I found myself in this line of work starts with my story of when I transitioned from becoming a computer scientist at the NASA Ames Research Center to becoming an entrepreneur and building my first online business in digital marketing. And the reason why I did that is so that I could stay at home and be with my newly born son at the time. And now I have 7 children of my own, and I always wanted to homeschool them and just be there for them. And so that's why I became an entrepreneur. But my first, my first few years as an entrepreneur was extremely difficult. And I thought it was healthy, but later on, after all my studies, I realized there were a lot of things that I was doing that was not very healthy. They were not very healthy habits that I had. And what ended up happening was I got really sick and I thought I was on my deathbed. And I was rushed to the emergency room. And the doctor actually thought that I had a brain tumor. But after extensive testing and examination, she told me that there was nothing wrong with me. I just, I was experiencing a lot of pain, but they had nothing for me. There was nothing they could do for me. She said that she could give me some really strong painkillers, but that's really it. She couldn't really get rid of the problem. And so I took the painkillers, but again, painkillers and any pharmaceutical drug never address the root cause of illness and disease. And that's exactly why this line of work is so important to me and why I went on my own personal journey to become a holistic healer, to study nutrition, herbalism, holistic health, and holistic life coaching, is because we all know people, and maybe probably even ourselves, who, just like me, went to the modern medical system because that's the expected thing to do. That's a normal thing to do. And, tried to get health and healing that way, but hit a dead end, hit a brick wall, and we either got medications that didn't work or that only worked for a while, or that caused side effects that were so terrible that we had to get on other medications, plural, and maybe even the medication or medications caused side effects that caused other health issues. And sometimes the health issues are worse than the first problem that you originally had. And we're on this ridiculous roller coaster of drug after drug, after treatment, after procedure, because the modern medical system never addresses the root cause. And medical professionals who have woken up know this. And that's why I have medical professionals in my program, including, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, medical technicians, etc., who are learning from me, who are, taking the certification program because they realize that our system is broken and we need to fix it. It is our destiny as humanity to overcome all this nonsense, really. We can do better and we will do better. I know it. And that's why, in my certification program, sometimes I joke around. No, it's not really a joke, but I say, I'm empowering not just holistic healers, but holistic warriors. We're in a battle. We're in a battle over our own health and healing to safeguard and protect that, and that of our families and friends and community, of course, as well. And we're also in a battle against very powerful people who, because of profits, like to suppress holistic health and healing truths to keep us just sick enough so that we need something, pharmaceuticals, but not well enough to ever get off them. That is truly the goal of big pharma, of the pharmaceutical industry. It's not true. They don't want to heal us. They don't want to cure us. They want to keep us just sick enough so that we keep giving them our money. And you know what? Me personally, I have better things to spend with my money, like on good food, clean herbs, things that don't cause these ridiculous side effects that we experience with pharmaceutical drugs.
Thank you, Mayim. So that brings me to my next question. What are some of the key benefits of transitioning from the conventional healing approach to a holistic approach in health and healing?
Okay, so that's another really great and important question. The key benefits of transitioning from conventional healing to a holistic approach are, right now, I can think of three main reasons. Number one, the holistic approach is safer. Number two, the holistic approach is more effective. And number three, the holistic approach is the true approach that gets to the root cause. Okay. Now, I'd like to illustrate the first point, the safety of holistic medicine. If someone who was taking some, let's say blood pressure medication or something like that, visited me at my house, let's say I invited them over for dinner, and let's say they had to take some of their medicine and they dropped one of their pills, right, in my dining room or in my living room floor. Now, I have very small children. I have a 4-year-old. And what if my 4-year-old found that pill on the floor and thought it was candy or something like that and put it in her mouth and ate it? What would happen? I would immediately have to call the poison control center to get that pill out of her system, because those pills can have deadly side effects. But what if someone dropped a vitamin C pill or a tincture, and one of my children found it? For the most part, if they found it and took it, they might have a little diarrhea. It might be really spicy on their tongue, and so they would stop taking it. But no, I wouldn't have to control the poison control center, because vitamins and herbs and minerals are extremely, like 1,000 times safer than pharmaceutical drugs. There's a few types of, supplements that you might have to call the poison control center, but for the most part, no, you won't have to do that, because our body knows how to work with those substances. It is not a drug. It is a healing tool. Okay. So completely safe. Also, exercise, diet, those are all safe, right? Sleep, those are all part of holistic health and healing. Completely safe, zero side effects. Now, let's talk about the effectiveness. The holistic approach is more effective. And the reason why we know this is because in my practice, and this is the experience of many holistic healers, when it comes to the conventional ways with the pharmaceutical drugs, as I said before, they don't deal with the root cause. They just mask symptoms. So, you might take a cough suppressant, let's say, for example, but if you are not dealing with the root cause, why are you coughing in the first place? Why do you have allergies? Why do you have the flu, etc.? Why is your immune system not strong enough to overcome this in just a few hours or just a day or two, overnight? Why? Because you have not built up your immune system. You haven't boosted it or lived the kind of life that you need to in order to avoid those common illnesses altogether. I have one of my students is a medical doctor, and she said that she used to take anti-allergy drugs every single week because of her allergies. The allergy drugs don't boost your immune system. They just suppress it. They just oppress your allergy symptoms. But when you have allergy symptoms, it's your body talking to you and telling you, hey, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this thing that you're eating or this environment that you've just stepped into because of my state of being. I'm not strong enough. That's what your immune system is saying to you. But I taught her a really powerful vitamin protocol that actually boosts your immune system so that your immune system is strong enough to overcome allergies. And so that's the difference. It is effective because it is true. It is true holistic health and healing because it strengthens your immune system. It doesn't silence it, like I said before. And the third issue is the root cause. Holistic health and healing deals with the root cause, and the conventional approach of drugs and surgery, etc., does not. That doesn't mean that you sometimes don't need surgery, for example, or in an emergency situation need a drug, but you're not dealing with the root cause. And if you deal with the root cause, you can make your problems either go away or become extremely minimal, safely, effectively, and naturally without poisoning your body and causing the roller coaster of side effects.
Mayim, you have developed an incredible program that you've already mentioned called the Arukah Holistic Healer Certification Program, which you have specifically created for those looking to either transition into the holistic approach or for those who are wanting to grow in their knowledge and practice. Can you talk us through what differentiates this program from other similar programs that are currently out there?
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, the certification program at arukah.com is really, truly incredible. And there's a few things that set it apart, actually, many things, but I'd like to focus on a few. And one of them is that when I designed the program, I designed it for someone who was in my situation many years ago, someone who was a busy mom who had a lot of work to do and, a lot of things on her plate, but still wanted to empower herself with the knowledge of holistic health and healing for herself, for her family, so she could take care of her family, and maybe even build a career where, very specifically, she could stay at home and, just like me, be a stay-at-home mom. And, even a homeschool mom. I've been a homeschool mom. My oldest is 20 now, and I homeschooled him the whole way. And he's already graduated college, and he's got a computer science degree, and he's an entrepreneur himself. I instilled that dream in him. So being able to, I was able to surpass my income at NASA, and still homeschool my children. It's pretty awesome achievement. And so I wanted to empower people in my program to do exactly the same as I've done, to become a holistic healer, to have a successful online business so that they can have time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, meaning that there's no glass ceiling. No one who you need to get a raise from. You just have to help people. That's how I get paid, is when I help people, right? And so that's one of the advantages. Another advantage is it's very hands-on and apprenticeship based. And you could go to a college to study to become a naturopathic doctor, or another holistic professional like a chiropractor. But it's going to take a lot more money, and a lot more time as well. This program can be completed in 1 year, but because, all of my students pretty much are busy professionals already, or busy moms, it's self-paced. So, if you have a lot of things on your plate, it's okay. It's still going to be there for you. There's not like a time limit. You're not going to, your grade's not going to be lowered because you submit an assignment late or anything like that. It's self-paced. And so I've designed it for the busy mom, or the working woman. And another thing that sets it apart is we have three core pillars in our program. One is that our students study naturopathic herbalism. And that takes up the bulk of our program. And naturopathic herbalism includes studying the foundations of holistic health and healing, identifying toxins and detoxification, also nutrition and orthomolecular nutrition, or megadose vitamin therapy, as well as herbalism, which includes also homeopathy and aromatherapy with essential oils. And also they study Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. But it's mostly focused on Western medicine, Western herbalism, And then the next core pillar, the second one, is holistic life coaching. And the reason why holistic life coaching is part of the program is to incorporate the mind spirit aspect of it, right? If herbs and supplements are the alternative to pharmaceutical drugs, well, holistic life coaching is like the holistic alternative to psychiatry. It deals with the mind and the spirit, and spirit has to be part of it because we are spiritual beings. We're not just physical beings. We're also spiritual beings. Now, a lot of holistic health and healing schools are based on, different religions, New Age, or, other pagan religions. And this program, because I'm Jewish, is based on the Creator. It's based on the Bible and biblical principles, Judeo-Christian principles. And so therefore I have a lot of people who are of that faith persuasion, Jews, Christians, or people who maybe, they don't really identify as Jewish or Christian, but they're open to it, or they grew up in that faith, and they don't necessarily want all the new age spirituality. They want the kind of spirituality that they are comfortable with and used to. That's another thing that sets us apart. And life coaching is all about mindset and how to have healthy relationships with yourself, with others. Of course, also, with food and your body and lifestyle. Holistic life coaching encompasses all of that. And it's a very important part of holistic health and healing, especially because stress is often the root cause of many illnesses, common illnesses, and also chronic diseases. So, that mind and spirit aspect is very important. And the third aspect is online business marketing. And again, the reason why that's important is because, as I told you, I really want my students to thrive and to be able to, have that time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, which an online business provides. But also because, there's not a lot of jobs for herbalists, or life coaches even. And so we really have to be entrepreneurial. And it's very, very rewarding. And because of my background, with my digital marketing business, my first business, I can really help people in that department.
Thanks so much, Mayim. So I love the power of testimony and hearing people's personal experiences or journeys. Can you share some of the success stories that might be coming to mind, or testimonials from past students?
Yes, we certainly have a lot of success stories and testimonials, and we'll show some of those testimonials at the end of our talk today in this video. But I could talk about a few of them that are maybe recent. One of them is one of my students. She told me that she wanted to become a nutritionist, but I guess her life's journey didn't really allow for that. So when she heard about my program, my certification program, when it first launched, she joined, and she really wanted to help her husband, who had been suffering from colitis under the care of doctors for about 20 years, ever since he was in the military. And he was going from medication to medication and, suffering with diarrhea and insomnia and restless legs and indigestion and, all these terrible things that colitis can cause. And so I actually created a custom module for her to help her husband with that. And in 2 months, she helped her husband get off the medication and heal from colitis using food and herbs and natural holistic healing methods. So that was a great accomplishment for her. And, I get people, contacting me saying that I helped them grow their hair back, or actually someone said, oh, you helped save a little girl's life, just beautiful, wonderful things like that. You helped me heal my daughter, you helped me grow, regrow my teeth so I don't have pain from cavities anymore, like just all these wonderful testimonies. And that's the reason why I love doing what I do. And, and you will too, if you join the program. It's so rewarding and fulfilling to understand and to know that you are helping people, truly helping people in ways that they can't get in the modern medical system. It's so rewarding.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mayim. I can only imagine the sense of reward when people start applying these principles to their lives and actually see a change and transformation. And for somebody as passionate as you are around this topic, to witness that and to be a part of that, I imagine that the reward is priceless. So another common question that arises is, once someone completes the program, what are some of the practical steps one would take in order to start a successful career in holistic health?
Okay, that's a great question. And that's actually what the third pillar of our program is all about, is, what do you do? Practical steps on what you would do to start a successful career in holistic health. And in that program, we teach our students how to create a high-ticket, transformational health coaching program that really helps people deal with a serious problem, a serious health issue. And that doesn't mean that it's a deadly problem, but it can be something that really affects their life, right? Even skin disorders can really affect your life, right? Even though it's not necessarily deadly. Weight loss could be something that is dealing with a serious issue. There's so many different types of health coaching programs that one can make, anxiety, depression, hormonal issues, etc. So they build, and it's part of the program. They will do this while they're still in the program, and we'll support them the whole way, is to build that first high-ticket health coaching program, and then set up their online assets, such as their website, their social media, a video sales letter, press releases, podcasts, all those things that online entrepreneurs need in order to connect with people, get their message of health and healing out there, and build and grow and scale their business.
Thank you so much, Mayim. It's been so great talking with you today. But before we close, for those that would like to get started on the journey to becoming an holistic healer and wanting to learn a little bit more about the certification program, how do they go about contacting you?
Yes, it's been wonderful talking to you today as well. And for all those who would like to get started on their journey to become a holistic healer and learn more about the certification program, all they need to do is visit the website, www.arukah.com, ARUKAH.com, and dig into that and schedule a discovery call. And I would love to be your mentor, your health coach, your teacher in guiding you to become a holistic healer, to become the healer of your home and your family and your community, and to help you build a profitable online health coaching business.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Mayim. So there we have it, folks. If you are ready to move forward in your own journey of becoming a holistic healer, then you can visit the website at www.arukah.com, where you can schedule your first discovery call. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.